father or son.
Truly He is the one, He has no father or son.
Everything in creation was by Him begun.
Everything in creation was by Him begun.
With His infinite power, anything could be done.
With His infinite power, anything could be done.
Ask Allah for His pardon,
Ask Allah for His pardon,
and you'll enter the garden.
Allahu, 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 Allahu,
Before Him there were none, of partners He has none.
Before Him there were none, of partners He has none.
He knows what is apparent and what is hidden.
He knows what is apparent and what is hidden.
All the fate of creation has already been written.
All the fate of creation has already been written.
His will is always done,
His will is always done,
and can never be undone.
Allahu, 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 Allahu,
أيها الإخوة الكرام، نذكركم بأن حقوق الطبع والتوزيع محفوظة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الصفا والمروة من تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم. إن الذين يكتمون ما أنزلنا من البينات والهدى من بعد ما بيناه للناس في الكتاب أولئك يلعنهم أصلحوا وبينوا فأولئك أتوب عليهم وأنا التواب الرحيم. إن الذين كفروا وماتوا وهم كفار أولئك عليهم لعنة الله والملائكة والناس أجمعين خالدين فيها لا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينظرون. وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم. إن في أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهم علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم إلى الليل ولا تباشروهن وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها كذلك يبين الله بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون يسألونك عن الأهلة قل هي مواقيت للناس والحج وليس يقربوهن حتى يطهرن فإذا تطهرن فأتوهن من حيث أمركم الله إن الله يحب التوابين ويحب المتطهرين نساؤكم حرث لكم فأتوا حرثكم أنى شئتم وقدموا لأنفسكم واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم ملاقوه وبشر المؤمنين ولا تجعلوا الله عرضة لأيمانكم أن تبروا وتتقوا وتصلحوا بين الناس والله سميع عليم لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو فيما تراضوا بينهم بالمعروف ذلك يوعظ به من كان منكم يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر ذلكم أزكى لكم وأطهر والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون والوالدات يرضعن أولادهن حولين كاملين لمن أراد أن يتم الرضاعة وعلى المولود له رزقهن وكسوتهن بالمعروف لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك فإن أرادا فصالا عن تراض منهما وتشاور فلا جناح عليهما وإن أن الله بما تعملون بصير والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا يتربصن بأنفسهن 4 أشهر وعشرا فإذا بلغن أجلهن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فيما عرضتم به من خطبة النساء أو أكننتم في الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون وقاتلوا في سبيل الله واعلموا أن الله سميع عليم من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه له أضعافا كثيرة والله يقبض ويبسط وإليه ترجعون ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت لا يهدي القوم الظالمين أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها فأماته الله 100 عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم قال بل
Welcome you all to Hijra class annual Ramadan lecture. Jenna. Dr. Fati, please, I'd like to invite you to the high table. Sherry, please, I'd like to invite you to the high table. Okay, so we are about to open our program. Please fill the spaces in front. So if anyone comes, they can sit behind you. Please, the ladies as well.
The ladies from behind. Come to the front. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, wa sallallahu ala Rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa alayhi wa sallam. We want to give thanks to Almighty Allah for granting us this great opportunity. Just about a year ago, we met here. This Ramadan series was one of my Hijra club. Like a twinkle of an eye, one whole 365 days on the way here again. It takes grace, God's favor, for us to this place, and we give Him thanks for that. As we're going to embark on this year, this is our first series for the lectures. We want to ask Almighty Allah for inspiration to inspire our speaker very well. That which comes from the mouth will be that will be very impactful and be that of guidance to all of us. Pray that our chairman will also have the inspiration to be able to really supervise and superintend over this very important. For those of you who are here, we pray for that will open your minds, open your hearts, all of us open our hearts and our souls, that we leave this place with something to guide us in our life as we do the fasting for this year. We pray for God to continue to keep our country very safe and peaceful. Wherever in the world where there is no peace, we pray Allah will restore them to peace. Those who are yet to join us, we pray Allah will grant them travel blessings and give them protection. Come with us to pray that we'll be able to end this thing in a very peaceful and very useful manner. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you, Sheikh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. All praise is due to Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. We give thanks to Almighty Allah for granting us the opportunity to witness this blessed month of Ramadan and to gather here today in remembrance and reflection. May peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the prophets, the messengers, his companions, those that serve alongside him, those that follow his footsteps to the day of judgment. Distinguished scholars, honored guests, respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, I welcome you all to Hijra Club's annual Ramadan lecture series. I am Sulemana and I am honored to serve as the MC for today. Our chairman is a distinguished personality whose commitment to community development and Islamic growth inspire many. Ahmadu Kadu Abdullahi is a retired two-star Major General of the Ghana Armed Forces from Nima, Zongo, former Commandant of the Military Academy, the UN and ECOWAS of the military, the UN and ECOWAS, peacekeeper and telecommunications expert. Major General serves on multiple boards, advises on multiple boards, on security conflict and resolution, advocate for poverty reduction, health, and economic development. He is recognized for his community service by the members of Hijra Club. We are truly honored to have him preside over today's lecture. It is now my pleasure to respectfully invite our chairman to deliver his remarks.
It's like, but it's not, the day is not old yet, so you are not hungry. At-takbir. There's some energy in you.
The special guest of honor, our resource persons here present, distinguished sheikhs and ulama, members of the Hijra Club, members of other clubs and organizations here present, our distinguished guests. I have not seen anybody from the media, but I believe they will be here, ladies and gentlemen. I greet you all in the Islamic tradition. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would want to extend my appreciation and thanks to the chairman of the Hijra Club and the organizers of this function for the role assigned me and for the opportunity to be part of this very prestigious event. I deem chairing this august function a privilege, an honor, and a very, very pleasant duty. We thank Allah for our lives and for yet another Ramadan, or Ramadan series, as we have been doing. Those who had the opportunity of watching GBC TV yesterday, or yesterday afternoon, would have learned the history of the Hijra Club, its roles, and functions, as well as its aims and objectives. They also would have heard of the backdrop of the Ramadan lectures, aimed at enhancing the knowledge and understanding of the Muslims on pertinent issues that will inure to their progress, growth, and development in Islam and in humanity in general. We have on the program a repeat of what was done yesterday. So those who didn't have the opportunity will get the opportunity of getting to know Hijra, what it stands for, and what these lectures are about. Hijra's program of giving back to society in general, and in particular to the Islamic community, is a laudable venture that should be encouraged. Islam teaches us that the human family is the most important asset of Allah on earth, and any believer who treats people, especially the vulnerable, with love, kindness, respect, justice, truth, and fellow feeling, Allah promises to grant such a goodly life both in this world and the hereafter. May Allah increase the resolve of the Hijra Club to do even greater things and bless its members abundantly. Amen. Now to the theme of what we are gathered here for. Surah Al-Baqarah, that's chapter 2 of the Quran, from verses 183 to 187, provide clear and unambiguous instructions and guidelines to the Ramadan fast. For emphasis, I would like to state that the fasting during the sacred month of Ramadan is geared towards spiritual renewal and self-reflection, where we as Muslims focus on strengthening our connection with Allah and our community. It is a time for us to strive for personal growth, develop patience, and cultivate empathy by experiencing hunger and thirst, which encourages a deeper appreciation for life's blessings. Through fasting, prayer, and charity, we as Muslims renew our faith, seek forgiveness, and strive for self-improvement, aiming to emerge stronger in faith and more compassionate towards one another. Having just started the Ramadan fast, I believe the theme and its timing would be of immense and utmost importance and relevance, as it would have an impact on the benefits to be derived from the holy month of Ramadan. From this backdrop, we can now delve into the theme, Ramadan as a month of renewal and accountability. We are indeed blessed to have an array of experts and Islamic scholars to break down the complexities of the theme to the level and understanding of all of us here. The format for the lecture will be outlined by the moderator, the learned Sheikh Armia Shuaib, and we shall have the privilege of its presentation by an eminent Islamic scholar par excellence, Dr. Hijra Fatima Sulemana. I have had the privilege of having Hijra as a neighbor when we were growing up at Nima, where she is not only an illustrious daughter, but a mentor and role model. Between these eminent and acclaimed Islamic scholars, we can be assured of an educative, enlightening, and insightful presentation. We would also draw on the viewpoints of some of the eminent Islamic scholars in our midst, as well as questions and comments.
I would like to invite Alaji Campbell to give us a brief history about Hijra Club.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to read a brief background on the Hijra Club. Again, my name is Tanko Muhammad. I'm an executive of the Hijra Club. So the background and objectives. Hijra Club is a non-profit social club that was established in November 1992 by a group of Muslim professionals, intellectuals, and businessmen with the sole aim of improving the lots of the Muslim community in social, religious, and educational sectors. In its early years, the club organized several social and religious lectures and activities to educate the community, and also presented papers to Parliament during the debates on the 2 Islamic holidays. The initial 2 Islamic holidays, I think we had 2 additional this year, or last year, but this was the original ones. During this period, Hijra Club attracted a large number of educated Muslims, both in public, private, educational, and security services, who identified with the activities of the club. It was during this period that Hijra performed a lot of charitable works to the community. Let me talk about the trustees of the club. So the original trustees, Dr. Hassan Mohammed, former Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana and also former Ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Alhaji Yusuf Ibrahim, Business Executive, Chairman of Dar es Salaam Group of Companies, including GT Bank. Alhaji Abbas Gilbert, former Executive Secretary of Lands Commission. Dr. Abu Ahmed, former MD of the defunct Bank for Housing and Construction, and Alhaji Qasim Yahya, former Director of Bank of Ghana. Unfortunately, 4 out of the 5 here have passed. So we have a current group of trustees. And that includes, again, Alhaji Yusuf Ibrahim, who's the chairman of Hijra Club. Alhaji Gado Muhammad, former MD of Cocoa Marketing Company. Alhaji Abdul Rahman Isaka, former MD of National Industry Company, and Alhaji Muhammad Amin Futa, who was the secretary in the original trustees and is a secretary and also a trustee of the current trustee. Let me talk about the flagship initiative of the Hijra Club. In 1993, the club acquired a 1.35-acre plot of land behind the Motoka International Airport on the Spintex Road and built a clubhouse. The house was to become the focal point of the club, providing a meeting place and a place of relaxation. Not long after, the club was introduced to a representative of IDB who supported the club in building a school for Muslim students. So the school is where Al Rayyan School used to be on Spintex Road. Al Rayyan is now easily gone. But that school building is now being used by Ma'arif from Tech, the Ma'arif Foundation from Tech. Some of the past initiatives of the Hijra Club. It's organized several social and religious lectures, activities to educate the community, presented papers, made donations to Muslim communities in distress. Recently, we went to Western region and helped a family that was very, very distressed. During the Kosovo Dam spillage, Hijra Club came to support. During Ramadan, again, we've been organizing a lot of these lectures, and one of the key things they did, I don't know if you remember, but there was this program on GBC called Akida program. Hijra Club, again, supported that program a lot. Some of the current initiatives going on. Hijra Club, since 2022, has awarded almost 400 scholarships to students in the tertiary education units, and we're very proud of that, and we continue to want to do more of that. 2022, we had an Eid fair for children. They had a bouncing castles and lots of activities. And Hijra Club is planning to set up other things such as mentoring programs, etc. So those are some of the things that Hijra Club is looking to do. We have one Alhaji Bashir Sakibu who's passed. Alhaji Adamu Muhammad also passed. We have Dr. Umar Ben Ahmed, Rear Admiral Munir Tahir, Lawyer Sheikh Sharif Toure, Alhaji Garba Ibrahim, the twins, Alhaji Hussein Abdullah Sule and Alhaji Al-Hassan Abdullah Sule, Alhaji Abdullah Mahdi, Alhaji Yakubu Musa, Alhaji Fauzi Amadou, Alhaji Amadou Montia, Alhaji Sami Suka Brahma, in the midst, I see this in here. The former IGB, Alhaji Ahmed Mohammed Hassan, Alhaji Abdul Rahman Al-Hassan, Alhaji Aminu Amadou, Alhaji Yusuf Osman Amuda, it's not here. Alhaji Ibrahim Musa GBC, Alhaji Baba Ibrahim, Sheikh Armiyaw, Alhaji Yusuf Pati. We have a long list of names. I don't want to keep you bored with just names, but these are some of the key active members of the club. And we have, I forgot to mention, Alhaji Aminu Futa Oruba is also in our midst today, and Alhaji Misbah Ibrahim also in our midst as members of the club. Thank you very much.
I would like to introduce our main speaker for today. She is none other than Dr. Hijra Sulemana. She is a lecturer of religion. She is known as Hijra Fat. She is an expert in Islamic studies, women empowerment, and interfaith engagement, with numerous publications on gender-based violence and the role of Muslim women in Ghana. Beyond academia, she is actively promoted Muslim girl-child education and is a licensed scholar. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Hijra Fatimatu Sulemana.
Maybe it's yours. Please, technology can be said. Yeah, so Chairman's reminding us that much as we do the clapping, the takbir is most appropriate. But the human, you can clap. You can clap. Don't worry, clap. Clap for me. But the takbir is also something that we want to do. So, takbir. Because now I know you are here.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. It is with great pleasure that I make this presentation, and like the Honorable Chair mentioned, last year we were here, and I remember I was part of the resource persons who did presentation, and I want to thank the Almighty Allah for granting us the gift of life to be able to witness this year. A lot of people have passed on. Between last year and this year, so many things have happened. And so if by His grace we have been fortunate to be offered the opportunity to be part of this program, I think we need to give thanks to Allah for His favors. When I was asked to, my brother Rabbi called me, Shadia, this year, what did I say? Oh, Rabbi. Then through our conversation, before we go finish, he coined the topic. We're just conversing, and he said, yeah, this is what I have. I said, okay, no problem. So he said, Ramadan, the month of renewal of faith and accountability. And when I was reflecting over this topic, and then to try and put together some points that we will discuss. I was asking myself, so what is new about Ramadan? We have heard lectures, we have heard that we've been fasting and fasting. Every year we go, the popular quotation, we have heard it several times. And so the question is, to what end? Why do we keep fasting? But that the issue has to do with the fact that we are human beings who make mistakes. We are fallible. We are forgetful. And so we constantly need to be reminded of our purpose on earth. That is why the Quran mentioned that. And so the ibadah is everything we do consciously for the pleasure of God becomes an act of worship. And so fasting was prescribed for us, like it was prescribed for those before us. So we become conscious of God or we acquire piety. And so the month of Ramadan, which is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, is a sacred time for Muslims around the globe. And it is said that the name Ramadan originates from Arabic root that expresses intense heat, both physically and spiritually. Its essence lies in its profound significance as a period dedicated to fasting, prayers, reflection, and community. As a month of reflection, connection, and spiritual renewal, Ramadan, as observed by Muslims, goes beyond abstaining from food and drink. It offers an opportunity to slow down, reconnect with one's values, and strengthen the relationship with Allah. It is a deeply spiritual exercise designed to purify the soul, cultivate self-discipline, and foster a sense of empathy and compassion for the less fortunate in society. Again, it is a time that invites self-awareness, compassion, and purposeful living elements that closely aligns with emotional and mental well-being. And so, as human beings, Allah who created us knows our weakness, and He expects us to behave in a certain way. He expects us to mirror certain values, and to be able to mirror these values, we needed to subject ourselves to certain spiritual exercise, so we'll acquire this moral value that will make us the best humans as He described. And according to the renowned scholar Al-Ghazali, he categorizes fasting into 3 grades. And the first one, he says, the ordinary fast. The second is special, and the third is what? Extra special. And ordinary fasting, he said, means abstaining from food, drink, and sexual satisfaction. I believe that is where many of us are. Special fasting, according to him, means keeping one's ears, eyes, tongue, hands, and feet, all other organs free from sin. So it means when you fast, the whole of our body is fasting. And so it's not, that's where it moves from being ordinary fasting. That will enable us to seek nearness to God. The extra special, he says, means fasting of the heart from unworthy concerns and worldly thoughts, in total disregard of everything but Allah the Almighty. So the extra fasting has to do with ensuring that you are more concerned with nothing other than the Almighty Allah. And that this kind of fasting is broken by thinking of anything other than Almighty and the hereafter. It is broken by worldly matters, except for those conducive to religious ends, as these constitute provisions for the hereafter and are not for this lower world. People who are well versed in spiritual life of their heart have even said that a sin is with arrangement for breaking his or her fast. So other scholars have gone on to explain that the way we are all over the place buying chicken, food, half. They said the whole day you have fasted, but your mind is about breaking fast and what you eat. They are saying that even that is your fast is broken. This is because such anxiety stems from lack of certain faith in Allah. Allah's promise sustenance. Allah says He's going to sustain us. So why do that? You are all over the place. And I remember when we were doing this, some of the things we do. Everything you see, you buy. Lamborghini, you buy. And you break and drink one thing, and then the rest is going missing. But up to date, we still find ourselves at that level. And this reflects in when we go around our communities, the food we see being prepared. There are certain food we don't even see. But in the month of Ramadan, when we're supposed to have control over our intake of food and to discipline ourselves, that is when people begin to eat what ordinary they will not eat ordinary days. And so what it means is that it defeats the purpose for which fasting has been prescribed for us. For special fasting, it is a kind practiced by the righteous. It means keeping all our organs free from sin. And it is mentioned that there are 6 requirements that one needs to accomplish. And these are: seeing not what displeases Allah. That's where you display your eyes. In this age of social media, we are holding the phone the whole day. But occasionally we fear into TikTok and so want to know what is happening in the world. But that's in this month of Ramadan. As you are all over social media, you definitely will see something that this eye must lose. But how many of us can guarantee that we can put our phone away? That's a test. And so it says that restraining oneself from viewing anything that is reprehensible or that distracts the heart from the remembrance of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ is known to have said that 5 things break a man's fast, and these are lying, backbiting, scandal-mongering, perjury, and lustful gaze. In the month of Ramadan, you are busy, so you are scandal-monger, something has happened, and you are the one. And so I believe that we have our scholars here. Maybe the negative news we see, the negative videos we see, and then we keep sharing. It will all fall under what? Scandal monger. And meanwhile, one who is fasting is supposed to ensure that we don't do it. And that speak no evil by guarding the tongue from lying, backbiting, and all other things. And then this month, the month of Ramadan, is a month that everybody is supposed to have control over what we see. But you and I, maybe we may not be saying it with our mouth. As I was using the social phone, for example. Yes, you see this person, so you are busy typing all the negative vibes. You are giving and she did that, you did 2 years, so you are sending it. It was, your mouth will not have said it, but your hand have written it. And sometimes our mouth will not talk, but deep down our hearts, we see so many things. That is what the hadith of the Prophet says, so what is in your heart is what Allah is looking at. Especially for us ladies, we talk with our eyes, with our hearts, even our body speaks. And so, in the month of Ramadan, you may not be opening your mouth to talking ill about others, but your heart does. She is coming when she telling that. When you You haven't opened your mouth, but deep down you have said it. That is why it is only Allah who can reward us for the fasting that we have done. Because the sincerity with which we needed to keep the fast can only be certified by the Almighty Allah. That's why it is He who is going to reward us for the fasting that we do. And the Prophet is known to have said that fasting is a shield. So when one of you is fasting, he should not use foul or foolish talk. If someone attacks him or insults him, let him say, I am fasting. How many of us can hold ourselves to these standards? How many of us can hold ourselves to these standards? Maybe because I'm fasting, I will not react. I'm conscious that it's so when you're fasting, you don't fast. But I'm not going to shower. Now, what I'm going to you have disqualified yourself from this particular description that the Prophet. Yes. Since you are fasting and you haven't reacted, that ends it. You are not piling it. It's so much shower. Now, what I'm saying, yes. And mostly that's what we do. We will time ourselves, and when we break the fast, we find an opportunity to also pay back, and that nullifies our fasting. And I hear not evil by closing one's ears to anything unacceptable, and anything which is unlawful to utter is also unlawful to hear. So if what I'm going to say is unacceptable, similarly, it must be unacceptable to hear. And so if you cannot say it, it means somebody must not also hear. And so that's why it says that. And the Prophet is known to have said that the backbiter and his listener are co-partners in sin. But even though, because you are fasting, I said, okay, one child has to leave on the bed, but you are sending them, oh, and then you are sending them this, you are also part of it. You see how ordinary we are all. We are all at the level of what? The ordinary people who are fasting. It means to become special and extra special, we need to push ourselves. And fasting is to ensure that we discipline the human body and our desires such that we elevate ourselves so we gain the spiritual enlightenment that fasting promises. By so doing, we seek nearness to Allah. And so keeping all other limbs and organs from sin, such as not using the hands and feet from committing crimes, and not filling the stomach from unquestionable food at the time of breaking the fast. So what we eat must be genuinely acquired. And so the source of our money that we use to feed ourselves raises a lot of questions in the sight of Allah. We are breaking fast, we are buying food and all that. But the question is, Islam questions, Allah wants to know how genuine the money you are using to buy the food is. So you see how if we sincerely adhere to the requirement of fasting, we will live genuine life and ensure the high moral standard in our society. But unfortunately, the Quran is saying something, the Prophet is saying all this, and it is the opposite. So that's why I was asking, I said, so now what is new in our country? Because we've been fasting every year, and the kind of transformation that we expect to see, for some of us, maybe individually we can say we are gaining something, but the sincerity with which you do that introspection is very important. And so what we eat, the money we use, how we acquire the money, all amounts to whether or not your fasting will be acceptable in the sight of Allah. And so if you are doing soccer betting, I'm talking to the young ones, if you are doing soccer betting, I understand the ladies who are doing this. My students say, oh, what are the ladies are doing more? I said, then we are doing, you are doing soccer betting, and maybe you are selling fake things. You you are selling things, you have adulterated what you are selling and all that. Your money is ill acquired because you are not giving in full measure what you are selling. And these things we do them and we don't reflect over them. And so I tell people that these little things that we take for granted is what is making our fasting now and void in the sight of Allah. Because you are supposed to be conscious of whatever you do. And that is what we talk about taqwa. Consciousness of Allah helps you to reflect over whatever you are going to do at every stage in your life. And that avoiding overeating. Avoiding overeating even when it is acquired lawfully. So we're talking about the fact that if you don't acquire it lawfully, then that one is a different thing altogether. Now you have acquired it lawfully, but they're saying don't overeat. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ said we should divide our stomach into what? 3. One for food, the other for air, the other for water. But you and I know. When we break the fast, when I know you want to eat, I mean, I go to make it shower, but so you are all over the place. Before you have time, your stomach is full. And when you eat, you overeat, it affects your ability to be able to engage in the salat and the extra supplication that we do. So you oversleep for a night, you come and you wake up and it's water, you are you everywhere. And so eating, nobody is saying we should eat. Allah knows that we need food. And yet he said we should cut down the limit because that's why the Prophet ﷺ talks about moderation in everything that we do. So you eat a little bit. They are not saying we shouldn't eat what we want, but that thing must be edible as far as Islam is concerned. But for us as Muslims, you just don't go eating anything because everybody is eating. You must find out whether it is edible for us as Muslims. And so when you overeat, it becomes a problem. And so at the end of the day, the overeating affects our ability for tahajjud, as I said. After observing all the above sincerely, one looks to Allah with fear and hope. And so if you are able to do what the Prophet, the 6 things that we ask not to do in the month of Ramadan, the hope is that we look up to Allah with fear and hope for attaining nearness to Him. This is because the goal of fasting is acquisition of one of the qualities of Allah, which is steadfastness. And abstaining from the desires of the flesh are exemplified by the angels. So, and having gone through hunger and thirst and all that, it's supposed to ensure that you are able to face challenges, because as the Bible said that man shall not live by bread alone. And so at the end of the day, when you are able to have control over your physical desire, it helps you to be able to be that human being that allows us to be. It also encourages a deeper awareness of self and how one responds to stress, hunger, and fatigue and emotions, and how these experiences can become pathway for growth rather than struggle. Fasting reminds us that spiritual health and emotional health are interconnected. When you are spiritually healthy, it also affects your psychological health and emotional balance. The period of introspection, which comes with the self-reflection, helps individuals to recognize their shortfalls, seek forgiveness, and strive for spiritual growth. It is a time for self-examination and reflection on our character and behavior. Muslims are encouraged to assess our actions, seek forgiveness for past mistakes, and strive to improve our conduct. This includes controlling our negative emotions, avoiding harmful speech, and practicing patience, humility, and kindness. The goal is to be met with a purified heart and a renewed commitment to virtuous living. In renewing our faith, it is where we renew our faith and intentions. We begin the month with sincere intention, which serves as a foundation for all our acts of worship and helps align our actions with the ultimate goal of seeking Allah's pleasure and forgiveness. Now, in all this, that it leads us to the accountability that we need to hold ourselves to. And when we talk about accountability in Islam, we have moral accountability, which is very critical. This involves consciousness of God's presence, striving for righteousness. Belief in accountability on the judgment day informs our motivation for doing good deeds and focusing on acts of kindness, honesty, and justice. Accountability includes what? Self-reflection by assessing our action, and it also involves seeking for Allah's mercy. So fasting gives them the opportunity to do self-auditing, examine ourselves, and see whether we are holding ourselves accountable to the element of accountability. And fasting in the month of Ramadan seeks to inculcate the value of sincerity in us. So we will aspire to the level of what? Ihsan. Ihsan means the point where you grow spiritually to a point where it says that you worship God as if you see Him, and that if you don't see Allah, but then He sees you. And accountability in Islam is also personal and collective as well. Personal accountability is what we are going through as a believers. We are all fasting. And we are supposed to uphold ourselves. We are accounting for our own action by the fasting that we do. And so on the personal level, each soul will be accountable for each deed. And so as we fast as individuals, we shall be held accountable for the sincerity of our family. Fulfilling rights of our family, neighbors, and society forms part of our accountability. Reviewing our intentions before action, zikr and reflection all reminds us of mortality and accountability, and the month of Ramadan creates the opportunity to deepen our spiritual relationship with God through prayers and His remembrance and the intention. This spiritual grounding can offer comfort, stability, and hope, especially during challenging moments. It is important to note that fasting in the month of Ramadan does not require perfection. But perfection is an idea. Perfection is an idea. But rather it invites intention to it through quiet reflection, service to others, and deepening spiritual practice. The month offers an opportunity to realign with what truly matters by approaching Ramadan with mindfulness and compassion. Individuals can nurture both spiritual and emotional well-being, creating space for growth, healing, and renewal of faith. In summary, the transformative power of fasting during the month of Ramadan extends beyond physical abstinence. It is a holistic exercise experience that nurtures the soul, strengthens faith, and enhances mental and physical well-being. By engaging in sincere worship, cultivating self-discipline, and fostering empathy, Muslims embark on a journey of self-improvement and spiritual growth. Fasting during the month of Ramadan is a powerful reminder of the importance of devotion, compassion, and resilience in pursuit of a purposeful and a meaningful life. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
But the hunger has begun to eat. Yes, it is coming. Can you join me in appreciating your party once again? Please, the moment you can clap, the moment you can do it, I do it. At the bill. Just highlight a bit of the concepts that came up, probably to guide the scholars here who will be able to make some years. I have found one. Yes. So what we'll do is we'll take some reflections or observations from eminent, respectable Muslim scholars that we have here. The Sharif is here. In fact, I have been able to find out Imam Saeed. I just saw him. So I have found some people. Is there anyone I have not seen? Even among the women now, we have all the sheikhs. We have sheikhs. So those remain outside of this. You also have some reflections to add to it. So may I, Chairman, with your permission, may I start?
10 minutes.
How many minutes? 10 minutes each. Yeah, but we don't have time. We want to, by 1:30, we want to leave this place. So, Dr. Sharif, probably we want to share some brief observations about the entire presentation.
A moment to say a special prayer for our departed brothers. 4 out of the 5 original founding members have left us. And quite recently, indeed, less than 2 weeks ago, one of the pioneers of Hijra Club, Alhaji Adamu, also left us. So will you please take a moment to say a special Fatiha on their behalf. And along with that, a special Fatiha for our current chairman. We ask that Allah extend his life so that he will spend more time with us. He has been invaluable resource for our club. And we ask also that his health also be increased. Al-Fatiha collectively. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Thank you. Our lecturer, many of you, by popular demand, as they say, wanted them back because of our experience with her, or experiences with her in the past. And there's no accident. Talk to us about Imam Ghazali's work on fasting, 3 levels. Most of us are still at the first level, where all you are required to do is not eat, not drink, and no hanky-panky. The second level is what we are required to focus on. The third level is beyond the reach of most of us. That is, as she rightly said, the remit of the most advanced sheikhs, prophets, and awliya. How many of you can spend more than 10 minutes without waswasas, an idea crossing their mind, coming in and out? Almost impossible for most ordinary humans. So let's focus on the second aspect, which she went on at length describing what is required beyond just not eating and not drinking. And it is the ability to fight your ego, the ability to stop doing the things that have become normal, the rigueur for most of us. And one of the critical parts of this aspect is, as she rightly said, the use of social media. If you can put your phone away during Ramadan, at least while you're fasting, and avoid going to TikTok and all these other places, it will be a great help for most of us, for most of you. And that's all I wish to say. And I want to thank you again for coming. You all look very beautiful, by the way. And it is a reflection of the fact that you have started the process of purification of your souls, which Ramadan offers us the best opportunity to do for an entire month. Your faces reflect Allah's nur already. And inshallah, that reflection will continue, and so you will shine and shine and shine. And hopefully, inshallah, you will carry it through even after Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum.
Hint about his Islamic inclination. When you talk much deep things about religion and deep spirituality, once somebody begins to speak, you'll be able to have a hint about his orientation. Yeah, and that orientation is Sufism. Sufi orientation. The Sufi travels with you beyond the physical, journeys with you down to your soul. And we'll come to that if the chance were there, show up at yourself would have broken it down. Very well. So we'll talk about something called total fasting. Total fasting. Absolute fasting. But that's what Al-Ghazali broke down into the various gradations that he gave us. With that, Sharif. Imam said you can't hide. Wherever you hide, I can find you out. Like the dead is able to find us out wherever we are. So maybe you may have, I don't know where you met Najabat's presentation, but you may have some ability or two questions. But the chairman is trying to now put it to you by law that says something, one or two, about issues of exemptions in fasting. We are all not the same. People might have their issues in circumstances that may not allow them to be able to fast. If you can just say one or two together with.
Clearly, the Quran tells us that if you are not well, you are not obliged or you are not obligated to fast. And not being well is also part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's own way of managing your life as a human being. So he puts in you that ailment or sickness for his own, for a purpose that he only knows. So being sick is actually natural, as the ulama would tell us. But when you are in a state of ailment or you are sick, you are asked to, he gives you the opportunity to do what you do, depending on the space and opportunity given you. So if you are in a difficult situation, Allah lessens the burden on you. So when you are traveling, because the Prophet says traveling is actually as if it is a part of punishment. You are in a state of punishment where your state of mind is not stable and so on. So when you are traveling, you are asked also to go the fast. The women, some of the women who are also in a pregnancy, state of pregnancy or breastfeeding, are also asked not to fast. But these are major three instances where fasting, month of Ramadan, is waived temporarily. Most of the questions come actually, particularly with this question, with the women who would have instances when they are menstruating. Of course, menstruation is a natural phenomenon, and that's why I didn't mention it, because if you are menstruating, you will not fast. But most of the time, the women have the problem of piling their 2-3 days ago, I was discussing with some of the girls, and I was telling them that, in fact, if you do not fast, and you know you have not fasted after you have become adult, and you are now, ages like you are 45, 50 years, and you know that you have not fasted for a certain number of days, you have to note that that fasting is still on you. In fact, it's said, according to a jurisprudential reasoning, that even when you die and your children know about that fasting, which you have not done, they will have to share it amongst themselves and do it on your behalf. To that extent, it's a very serious thing, particularly with the women. So I'd just like to draw an attention on this for us to be careful. Thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. My quick comment regarding renewal of faith and accountability, Sheikh Toure has just mentioned. Let's try as much as possible to get to the higher level, which he says that none of us can really say he is there. But of course, that is why he is there. Even with that, we are not saying that the person is perfect. When your conscience, when your life, when everything of yours during the month of Ramadan is geared towards meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm drawing from the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he says, من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. So I want to say that even though yes, it sounds far-fetched, but I'd like to say that there are people who will be able to attain such level. If you are in a position to be able to say, Ramadan, I will not do anything. For instance, if you are an owner of your business and you decided that the month of Ramadan is free, I will free myself from any other thing but devoting myself to Allah. And that will not diminish whatever you have to do for humanity. You go into solution and you are able to, emulate, I don't know what is called, to try and try your best to attain, endeavor to do and attain such a level. And so we can all try our best, and Allah knows our best. He knows what is your best, and He knows what is my best. And so this month of Ramadan, try as much as possible and step up, and that is my point. So Doctor has given us all the parameters, but I would have to add and say that one very important thing that you have to do during the month of Ramadan as we start and as we go into the first 10 is to tell yourself that this might be my last Ramadan. Therefore, I have to do it the best I can, because that really will give you that conscience to really be able to get the best of your Ramadan. Do it not like the last years. You know what you did last year, that might be, low. So try and tell yourself, maybe this is my last Ramadan. So how best can I make it to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I think this is what I just want to add on this very, very important topic of renewing our faith during the month of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much. So from what it said, especially with respect to the exemptions, conceptually you can have this in your notes. Have permanent exemption or total exemption. Then we have temporary exemption or partial exemption. Trying to read about that. So for example, if you have a very old person who is unable to withstand the difficulties of hunger, that one is total exemption, permanent exemption. What you do is to do feed. If you have a chronic disease, by doctor's advice, you cannot leave your tummy empty. The highest value with the Sharia puts on this is the protection of life. So in this particular case, this fasting will be subordinated to the higher value of protection of life. And so therefore that's the flexibility of Islamic application of Islamic law. So then you'll be allowed now to stay off the fast because your life is very important to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then you'll be doing the feeding. So if you know you are a sheikh, I will give you the chance. So show me by your hand. Or you may not necessarily be technically speaking, but you also read a bit and you want to highlight a point or two. What I said, we'll give you the chance. And at times we allow our women also to have space to, especially in areas that have to do with women's experiences. If there's anyone who has something to say. But as we wait, I'm sure some of you will get the courage. I have seen Aja Sakura, and then I'm sure you have something. Okay. But some acknowledgement will be made. So we will invite Sulemana to quickly do that. So I will towards more interactions so that
Thank you so much. It gives me great pleasure to welcome and acknowledge the presence of the distinguished guests, mentors, and colleagues who are joining us. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Hijra, Safura, and Danny from Form 1. I would also like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to Jamesa from City Campus, Jamesa from Accra Technical University, Jamesa from Legon, University of Ghana, Legon, Jamesa from Ghana Telecom University, yes. I'd like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to them. I also like to express my heartfelt appreciation to Sheikh Dr. Imam Said Muhtar. I also like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to esteemed personalities from Daily Graphic and the Ghana News Agency. And I would also, lastly, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to all of you here and the members from Hijra Club. Thank you.
Think through about one of the things that Anja brought to say about the value of fasting in Ramadan. She talks about the transformative power of fasting. Fasting is something I want you to think about. Imam Said has already indicated one of the areas that I wanted to highlight. That is Imam Ghazali's Abu Hamid Ghazali. You know, he's one of the very renowned classical Muslim scholars of the Sufi religion. And that's why he comes with religion. So he didn't give the ordinary, he didn't limit himself to the ordinary definition of fasting, which is more of physical. That is abstention from eating, from drinking. I mean, so if you go to academic level or you want to limit yourself, when you limit to that level, you are able to achieve what we consider as the total fasting. And that's why Imam Ghazali breaks it down. So I want you to also reflect around this. How do we perceive that excellence? Journeying from the lowest level to the higher level. So it's a process that we are in. You cannot stay stagnated or fixated in just one level. You must. So here, everybody uses another term, self-audit, as one of the requirements of Ramadan fast. Self-audit. The journey you make to derive the most of the transformation that you need to derive in the month of Ramadan. That striving comes in the concept of jihad in nafs. Jihad in nafs. Personal jihad. So it takes you away from the combative jihad that we know about and which is causing a problem for us in the world now because of the wrong conceptualization. Combative jihad. Now we have what we call an internal jihad. So you remember when the companions had come from a certain war and they thought that combatively they had won the battle. Then the Prophet told them, we are back from the lesser jihad. What confronts us is major jihad beyond what we have seen. Then that must be terrible. Then he told them, no, the true jihadist is the one who waged a jihad against himself. So the greatest victory that you can attain is a victory against yourself, not against the enemy. And that's why we are in fasting. So think about that as you raise some of your questions for Hijra to respond and concept of. The fasting is fortification. So in Arabic we say, Asiyam Junnah. It's a fence. Fasting is a fence. And that, how do you ensure testing yourselves at the height of provocation? At the height of provocation, that you are going to restrain your response. She told us that when you are provoked, she said, give me side, give me side. See, fasting comes like this. Be courageous, and you have a lot of questions to ask. Yes, I have another one here, and then the last one, yes, I have. So now we'll take this further. But let's give priority to us.
The love meeting in Hijra this year. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. My name is Ubaid Aja Ubaid Omar. I'm a broadcast journalist from Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and writer for GBC Ghana Online.com. My question is, how does the spiritual practices of Ramadan, such as prayer, charity, and the recitation of the Holy Quran, help moral and then spiritual renewal? Thank you very much.
Okay, now let me take the other.
I just heard of the lectures and then I came to listen. So I'm not particularly from an organization. I just came for the lectures. So my question has to do with the exemptions when it comes to Ramadan fasting. The ladies, with regards to women, when it comes to giving childbirth. With women, there are some circumstances where, say this year, a woman will give birth, she's pregnant, she's not able to fast. Then next year, she has delivered, she's breastfeeding, she's not able to fast. So she has accumulated this year's fast. The next year comes, she's breastfeeding, she has accumulated. The following year, there are some instances where she has gotten pregnant again. She has accumulated. The fourth year, she's breastfeeding, she has accumulated. I mean, we are ladies, we are gentlemen, we are aware. Sometimes it goes on for like 6 years. She has accumulated 6 whole years of fasting. How does someone like that pay for that fast? So either 6 years or 4 years. Someone in that situation, so that would be 180 days of fast. That's 50 days of fast. How does someone like that pay for fast and then also try to fast the next year's Ramadan? I'd like to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. That's interesting. I hope you don't say it. Yeah. So,
I think Hijra gave a very nice presentation on how we can do our feet. This has been of Ramadan. Considering the levels of Ramadan from Ghazali, the second one Hajj stress on we striving to do well to fit into the second level, which is the special Ramadan. And it has to do with the parts of our body, the organs, the eyes, the nose, and all that. So we find ourselves in an atmosphere where fitna from campus, where fitna has been normalized from these non-praying Christians. So how are we going to deal with this fitna from them? And then also, you also mentioned that gossip is not something that is allowed or permitted. We should try just to avoid it. Not only the one giving the gossip, but you the one listening. So we the one listening, what should we do to the person saying the gossip to you? What should we do in those situations? And then on the other side,
okay. All right. Good. So can we get the other? Yes, there was one here.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. As I just said, regarding the income, whether it should be halal or haram. In today's digital world, many of the youth engage in forest trading as their source of income. So I wanted to know whether that forest trading is halal and how it affects our barakah in spiritual purification.
Muslims engage in what?
Forex trading.
Oh, forex
trading.
Trading, oh, forex.
So that's my question.
Talking about the things that nullifies fast and then maybe cause a break within the fast, I was hoping you would speak more on
what nullifies fasting?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
And then particularly thinking about mani, mazi, and then wadi, and if it happens with one gender or both genders, and then how it affects the fast.
Thank you. So you talk about things that initiates fasting. So I have to listen to some of the things that nullify and allow you to go ahead. Oh, okay. All right.
Draw attention to this blessing. Sometimes it's not about Islam. It's not like Muslims are using our Islamic principles to liberate what's to do. But even Christianity frowns on some of the blessings. Yes, you have found yourself in an area where you have no control over. And so, Ghana is not an Islamic state. It's a secular environment. And so, I don't think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to punish us by virtue of where we have found ourselves. But I think you will be judged in accordance with what is humanly possible as far as your circumstances were concerned. If you find yourself in let's say you are sitting in a taxi, you hide the taxi, there's a man here, or there's a lady here, you enter another lady also enter. You've been sandwiched between two ladies who have hipped. They are wearing short dresses. How could you have foreseen that when I sit here, the next person coming is going to be? And I don't think Allah is going to punish us for that, because He says what? The Prophet said, no matter to our intentions. So the fact that you are even worried about that, it itself shows that if you had your own way, this was not what you're going to do. But circumstances have forced you to be where you are. And so you do the best that you can. The Allah we serve is a merciful God. And I don't think that's why I said that something that is haram in Saudi Arabia may be halal here. I tell people that in Saudi, even with what I'm wearing, I still have to wear the black dress. Their women don't do anything. All they do is get pregnant. Even the child to give birth, they get somebody to hire to do it, they do it. But for us, I'm being kind, I'm selling chapel, I'm trying to go say, you expect me to wear black. And so where I found myself, I didn't determine where I should be born, which parents should give birth to me. So my background was not determined by me. So, and to a large extent, sometimes our background that affects our level of what? Religiosity as far as Islam is concerned. And so, the University of Ghana situation is something we are all struggling with. But in your case, you do the best that you can. Some are avoidable, you try and avoid them. The ones that are beyond you, Allah has seen that you are doing your best. Oh, Ustaz.
That's all. Doctor, you want to add something? Doctor. Okay.
I think Allah looks at our intentions. So what is in your heart is what is important. You will see lots of temptations in the way things are done, in the way people dress, and all those other things. In our present environment, like the main speaker said, it's very, very difficult to control these type of things. Indeed, I had some experience. The people in front of me were ladies. And I was directly behind them. I don't know if that prayer was accepted. But you could smell, the way ladies are, the fumes and the rest. But here was a case where I couldn't do anything about it. And I'm sure Allah will forgive me for those things. So let us be point blank. Islam or our religion will not change the way things are done in our societies. So try and just keep a straight mind. If you can look away. Now our ladies, they have this hair, a long one. They make it, and then it comes to the waist. And when they are walking in front of you, you see the hair and everything else. Do you have to look? So if the thing is tempting, then go somewhere else. If she's going right, she's in front of you. She is not the one creating the offense. It's you who are looking. So look away. Yeah. I hope we can manage this type of thing. Thank you.
Allow me to illustrate a popular social story that some of you might know. A young man wanted to join a group of people who had dedicated themselves to self-purification, to save themselves. And he was told you're not ready. You have to stop certain habits. But he insisted, and he got enlisted. To make the long story short, he found himself in a mythical city. How he got there through a wormhole doesn't matter. Once he got there, he saw himself extremely dirty. He looked around, there were shops, and he went to a shop. He was looking in the shop window shopping, beautiful clothing. And he was admiring it inside himself. He said, here he has no money. What's he going to do? The shop owner came out. You need new clothes? He said, yes, but I don't have any money. He said, don't worry, come on. He came in, measured him, beautiful clothes on him. He said, I don't have any money. He said, just say Fatiha for me. That's it. So, but thank you. Gets out, he's admiring himself. It's getting late. He was hungry. So he stops by a restaurant. He's looking, beautiful, wonderful people eating and so on. The owner comes out. Are you hungry? He said, yes. Come in. He serves some beautiful food. Next, it was evening. He didn't have a place to sleep. Owner of a hotel comes out. You need a place to sleep? He said, yes. So he goes in, he sleeps. But during the night, about 7 or 8, he starts to look outside. He sees some very beautiful young ladies cavorting, jumping around, talking themselves and so on. And immediately he was stricken by one of them. Could not take his eyes off. Could not stop thinking about her. The next morning, the owner of the hotel comes and says, "You look beaten up. Didn't you get any sleep?" He said, "No. I fell in love with this young woman, blah, blah, blah." He was going on and on and on. Wait. Just say Fatiha. Before he knew it, the owner of the place was actually the mayor. So he brought the young man over. "You want to marry my daughter?" "Yes." 3 conditions. Number 1, you gotta watch your mouth. Number 2, watch what's between your legs. Number 3, your eyes, your hands. The things that our lecturer told us we have to watch in the second stage of your fasting. Be careful. So he got married to a young woman. They were together. People come to visit him one morning, and he's gown Spider-Man. Tell them I'm not around. He didn't want to see them. Now he's some big shock. She goes down. Lunchtime, she didn't bring the food. He looks around. Where is she? She left. She went to her father's house. Why? Because we warned him. We told you to watch your mouth. You lied and you wanted your wife to lie on your behalf as well. Strike 1. Not long after, he took his wife out to a picnic, and then an apple fell from somebody's yard. He took it to wash it with him. "Oh, darling, here's an apple." She didn't take it. She got up and walked away back to her dad's house. He goes, What did I do wrong? Was the apple yours? We warned you not to touch what is not yours. You're forgiven, but this time, strike 2. Came back to the house. They were in the house one night, and he gets out. You know how men are. He goes and starts looking through that window where he first saw that young woman, and starts looking. But this time he was looking more intently than before. Kept looking and looking. "Wow, this one is beautiful. Wow, look at this other one," and so on. They caught him, and he was tossed out of the place. 3 strikes, he was gone. We are given more strikes in a given day than this young man suffered. The kinds of rules we break when it comes to that second tier are so numerous that it is only your intention, your desire to do good, that saves you from being condemned totally. May Allah accept our ibadah.
Yeah, this question brings us to the very core of the purpose of fast. One can cause self-restraint. That's why it's a discipline. It's a discipline. So your mindedness, mindfulness about the state in which you are should become the aid, what aids you. There's a story told about a very devoted, servant of Allah. In an area where there used to be a harlot or a prostitute who keeps their door open, and we are told that as long as your eye is set on her, you will be attracted. So that day, this devoted Arabit was passing, he looked at that side, and he caught the side, and he got attracted. So he began struggling with himself, and he could not, until he went and sold what he has in order to make the money to be able to go to that whatever was he charges for any man who comes to them. And to cut it short, he managed to come in when he was permitted to enter. As he entered and sat on the same bed with the woman, and he became comfortable to stretch his hand. The mindfulness and the dominant presence of Allah dawned on his mind, and his body began to shake. And the woman asked him, "How have I seen your color changed and your body shaking like this? Have you not done this before?" He said, "I have not done so before. Permit me to leave this place because I fear Allah." But this is what people have been getting. This is an opportunity, and you cannot just say, "Akhafullah. Izani bil khuruj. I fear Allah. Can you permit me? And anything I have given you in this transaction for you is halal. Permit me to go." And he left crying. Crying. For the first time he has entered into such a space. But before, the woman had asked him, "Who are you? And where do you come from?" So he mentioned his name and where he came from. So he left. And then the woman began to ask herself, "This man, this is the first sin he has committed. This is the first thing he has done wrong. And he's shaking. And I have done this over the years. Then I must be shaking more than him." She was there, and then she took a firm decision to close the door. And now sought to pursue the man with the aim that if God willing, he can become her husband. She found the place. She went there. She asked about such a man of this name, and then she was directed. When she was going there, she went there covered. So the man was told, "You have a visitor. Somebody, a visitor from far away, he wants to see you." When he came out, the woman removed, unveiled. And when he saw, he shouted and fell down and died. That's how he felt about what he did between him and Allah. So her face became a source of fear, as connected with his fear with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he could not stand it. The memory of where he found her, he could not stand it. But this man was determined, and she asked if he has any relative, a male who is in need of a wife. She's prepared to live with him for the rest of her life, so that her life will be transformed. And that's exactly what happened. And she then gave birth to many very righteous children later. So the strength and the force of taqwa, and that is what I of the nation. The transformative power of fasting is what we must understand and aim at, so that under the circumstance where we all find ourselves in some of those situations. I remember, I mean, great respect to all of you, when I didn't have any car to drive at the time, and I was also taking trotro. You know, in trotro, you have no choice. Yeah. Then the woman is here, and she's looking very big. I mean, she was so small. So then I was shift. So my hip and her hips. And a full shake, it has happened. In different. There are times when in those days when you are in a queue, go to buy something, you are there, the pressure from your behind, and the woman is just in front of you. And the pressure on you. You're trying to restrain yourself, but the pressure. One muscle. Yeah. So that's where you need the courage, the force of taqwa. Somebody has explained taqwa like yesterday in my sermon that was excellent. عمل بطاعة الله على نور الله رجاء لثواب الله حياء من الله. Applying God's commandment on the light of guidance that has come from Allah. And as you do so, hoping that Allah will reward you, but also you are also feeling ashamed of Allah's presence. That sense, something that must guide. So that's another topic for a whole day if we have to really discuss on taqwa, which is the central theme of our fasting in the month of Ramadan. It's a whole okay. So the next question. Adabati, you want to take this again? Spiritual practices. What is spiritual practice? How does the spiritual practice in Islam help in our moral renewal? You mentioned the Hijra, you mentioned some of those things. And those things, how do they help us?
Yes, these practices are what the month of Ramadan we are encouraged to put into practice. We are encouraged to be reciting the Quran, being generous to other people and all that. And when you recite the Quran is guidance to mankind. And so everything you need that will guide you to be able to live a righteous life is contained in the Quran. Sometimes we have to accept the fact that we read it and we don't understand what we are reading. And so the Quran will be giving us certain principles that is supposed to make us better persons. But because we are just reading, we understand what it doesn't reflect in our everyday life. And so that is why when you are reading the Quran, yes, when you memorize it's okay. When you recite it's okay, but it's a message that must be understood and put into practice. And that is where we fall short. And so in the month of Ramadan, it is encouraging that when you read the Quran, it has all the spiritual guidance. The Quran says it's al-Furqan. It is al-Zikr. It has so many names. And the names of the Quran reflect what you're supposed to do for humankind. So as you read it, it reminds you of the purpose of life. It reminds you of why you have been created, and it reminds you of the hell and all that. And so it keeps you on your toes. And so in doing so, it pushes you to live above the physical world by striving to become a better person. And so spiritually, the acts of giving are obedience to God. Islam means what? Conscious submission to the will of God. Obeying God is the essence of Islam. And so when you engage in the acts of charity, the sharing and all that, you are obeying God, and in doing so sincere. That is the underlying word. The sincerity with which we do all these things will definitely manifest in our spiritual enlightenment. Unless you are doing it just for the show, because there are a lot of us who do whenever you see the meanwhile, just for the praises, and the Islam teaches that if you want people to praise you for your act of deed, fine, you praise back in the sight of Allah, you have no reward. And so genuinely, when we do these things sincerely, we actually reap the results, which is the spiritual enlightenment that we attain in the month of Ramadan, especially.
Yeah, it's important that you add. In Ramadan, you have to be very highly prayerful. You have to be highly prayerful. When there's something that you want from Allah, especially has to do with your own lifestyle, the morality you want to attain, include that in your prayer. All the forms of devotion that you engage in. Commit yourself to devotion, so much so that you begin to see the light of Allah in your life. For example, if you used not to be praying at night, don't wait until the Hijra time. Yeah. Do your just 2 rak'ats in the night when no one sees you. When no one sees you, say your prayer. And around the time, the most auspicious time to speak to Allah. When the world is still, إن ناشئة الليل هي أشد وضعا وأقوم قيلا. That's what the Prophet ﷺ was asked from the beginning, that he must pray by the night. يا أيها المزمل قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. In the last part of it, إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثه والطائفة الذين معه. The Prophet has been told, even at his level, stand by the night. So it's not your practice. The Ramadan have an opportunity. And when you fix your forehead on the ground, أقرب ما يكون العبد لربه وهو ساجد. The time of the servant can get most intimate to Allah is when his forehead is pressed on the floor. So you know your difficulties and this. Take counsel from them. See them. Read about people who have been spiritually successful. Who come you a lesson, they give you a lesson where you will. There are so many other things that can also be added. The issue of Forex Zero, that one, as simple as that. أحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. Allah has made permissible commercial transactions, but He has made riba prohibition. That's prohibited. So Forex Zero, what do? They transact in their business, in the exchange, selling dollar or whatever. In my understanding, that is exactly what they do. It's a transaction. They buy and sell. So if you ask me, I'll say, I'll put it on the side of Allah al-Bay'ah. Allah has made permissible transactions. But if there's an element in it that has to do with interest, then the interest aspect is what we must be talking about. Our interest is already a novelty. It's something that and then we must also be careful, like Hijra said, until these days when we are talking about the non-interest banking, to be realistic with myself, it's a subject that if you ask me to address, I say in Ghana, I don't see it as a possible discussion to me. If you ask me, I know and I understand all right, but in our reality and our circumstance, it's not an environment that is totally Sharia compliant. And so you find yourself in a very difficult situation. For example, when I was in office, all my salary were coming through the bank, not by my own choice. So my account is in the bank, and I don't control it. So if I have a need to take a loan because I want to pay my child's school fees, and I have to pay interest, I will pay my child to go to school. Yes. I'm not letting my child remain uneducated because I'm in child interest. But outside of Ghana, where we have a system, or now that we are not going to introduce non-interest banking, then probably all Muslims now will choose to go to the non-Islamic bank. So you have no problem, you have no choice. But previous situations, you will do it under the principle of circumstances make permissible what is normally impermissible. Of the rural to be rural. And that's a massive in Islamic jurisprudence. Normal things that normally you may not be allowed to do in certain circumstances, Islam may permit you to do it. And call that one of the rural to be rural. The issue of, do you want to answer this one?
Not fasting for 6 years.
This post-data bleeding. Post-data bleeding. That be fast. Well, women's circumstances may be different, but it is not a permanent circumstance that having had your first issue, then all of a sudden another one follows. So between what you give birth and the next conception, what was the period, the time lapse between the two? Between the childbirth and when you are also taking the next one, in between you have a space to be able to finish your fast, finish your postnatal bleeding, and then if you have some debt to pay by way of fasting, then you do it. That's why you should be careful not to be neglectful. Because you see, life is not for you. So don't be neglectful. When you are indebted, it's like indebtedness to God. Don't die and go away with that indebtedness. Is that the indebtedness of Allah is the one that must be paid most fastly than any other. Yeah, so I think that we need to be careful not to also relax the thing so much that the woman stays, and then of course, and I say we men, we are the troublemakers. Yes. So I think that we must measure so that we don't allow another consumption to come, and then another consumption comes, and so it becomes accumulated. That if you do it neglectfully, then still you have this burden on your head. And like we do, sometimes you may be doing fasting until it comes to your conscience that at least for now here, I have covered. Like when you left beef salad and you don't know how many of the salad is from you. Don't know. The scholar says that when you use that, for every salad you do it double for a period of time that you become conscious of that. For now, you don't think that something is. But Allah also is forgiving if you are able to do it because of your circumstance. Allah likes most forgiving person. But don't joke with it. Time is not on our side. Yeah, and then appreciation because of wet dream and other things. Yes, there are various views about this. There are those who say that because it is outside of your control, when you have a wet dream, it's out of your control. When it happens, you can go ahead and continue with your fasting. There are those who, just as when you fast and you eat forgetfully. Yes, I have a personal experience. We're traveling with an old man and we miss our flight. Then a very good servant said, instead of us going back home, because we are now doing the booking again. So he hosted us at East Legon, so that from there to the airport, we'll be able to make it. And he was such a generous man, so far he brought all the good things, including Fanta. So when he assembled the thing and I look at them, I forgot that I was fasting. I was doing voluntary fasting on that day, but it was a voluntary fasting. So, in fact, I felt my tummy very well. But just as I finished, I remembered that I was fasting. But after I can't fall. And nobody knew I was fasting, so I kept quiet. So, these things, they do happen because for a long time you have not done the fasting. And your routine eating continues. And so, how to break sometimes, you need to be highly conscious. And we are not the same. So sometimes you can easily, especially when you are thirsty and the first set of water, if you are not alert, you might take it. But he said, when you do so, the prophet says that it is Allah who has fed you, and then you must continue your fast. Because you didn't do it consciously. And that is the flexibility of Islam. And in that case, what we need to determine, that what we now raise the level is that there's something I call mental fasting. Mental fasting. So where you are now, your fasting is more mental. So though you have eaten all right, but you are still in a state of fasting. The same like somebody who is an old man or a woman who is giving charity. The fact that you are giving the charity doesn't mean that you are outside of the circumstance of fasting. In fact, your fasting becomes a mental one. So you are fasting at the mental level. So all those restrictions that applies to the fasting person, you will also observe. Except that for you have been given permission to go and open the pornography and be watching. Or following a certain woman from somewhere. And so on and so forth. Yeah, so that is the answer to that. Let me quickly acknowledge Alad Modo, the Great Accra British chief. But he is my chief because I'm also a British. So, yeah. Let's look at the time. Let me also issue, Chairman said I should issue a fatwa. In fact, by the powers invested in me as a spokesperson of Chief Imam, I stop anyone from going out to go and say this prayer. We are going to finish all the salat we make, they apply within a certain range, space of time. So that's why we have the muhtar time and the darura time. The muhtar time is the preferred time to do it at the beginning, but under circumstance, if you are unable to do, you do it to the daruri time, and that's the time of necessity, because it's darura. You have a circumstance that compels you to delay it to that time, and it applies. It applies. So, going by the Islamic jurisprudence, we are not sinning at all. And what we are doing here itself is part of the Ibadah, to learn about what makes our Islam and our fasting the valid and fulfilling. So, if you want to pray, please obey the chairman. That's why we have leadership in Islam. We respect leadership. So once the leader does not move, don't go ahead of him. And that is order for us. Let me look at the time and see whether we can. Oh, we still have some little time. We can take it. Yeah. We can take some. Yes, I just authorize here. I think one here. Yes, we have one here. Yes, another one is here. So I pray. No more. Okay, by the time I finish the prayer, probably you have thought of. Oh, there's another one there. Okay, so let's begin with you. Give me the mic.
Comment. The question is on the recitation of the Quran, which is highly recommended during Ramadan. And a lot of people come up timetable to be able to complete the Quran within the 1 month, which is very good. For some of us, we have a bit of a challenge because as Hijra, Dr. Fatih mentioned, you're supposed to read the Quran, understand it, and apply it in your life. For you to be able to do all this, it's difficult to complete it within the 1 month. So the question is it better to just recite the Arabic version and finish in 1 month, or to read the English version during the Ramadan so that you can understand it and apply it? And then later outside Ramadan, you do the Arabic, which is highly recommended, or if there's any particular way you can combine the two. The second one is a comment on our ladies, since we have a lot of our ladies here. There's this issue about menstruation, or even nifas, when it goes beyond the normal days. So if you can give clarification on what is looked at as the normal days, so that our sisters will know which goes beyond the normal days, so that they will know when they can just still be bleeding but fasting at the same time, so that they are not confused about what to do if you fall in such a situation. Thank you very much.
The other thing is,
fast. So, example, if I'm going to Kumasi and I think I will be able to fast, does it make it haram for me not to fast when I'm going? And then my second question is, the people that are not permitted to fast, like the old people, how are they supposed to do it when they are feeding people? Do you feed one person every day, or you pick the first day and then you feed like 30 people and then you are done with the 30 days of fasting? So I want to know how.
So, well, like a case where you feel lazy to pray at home, so you want to go to mosque. When you get to the mosque, 3 people are standing here, 2 people are standing here, 5 people are standing here. What do you do? So when you join, whether the 3 or 5, is your prayer valid or not?
Mean that only at the mosque, they are not in a row.
Yes.
Why are they not in a row? Because it's a form.
So,
or they chose just to remain.
They chose to remain separate.
question is in regards to the feeding. With regards to the feeding.
The feeding? Oh.
The feeding.
Feeding?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Under what circumstance is a person allowed to feed, like during the month of Ramadan, or instead of fasting, the person is allowed to feed a number of people? And then, how is he supposed to do that? How is he supposed to do that?
Let me take the question again.
Are there spiritual indicators?
Oh, okay.
That one will be able to
okay.
see after Ramadan to know that one is able to move from one stage to the other stage. Thank you.
This one, I think, Sheriff, you will answer this question.
Like that.
Okay. Okay. So let's pick this last case first. No one.
He said he didn't hear the question well.
Why you asking? He said in the Imam Ghazali Said is encouraging that we must strive and endeavor to hit the highest. And he's asking that, assuming one tries, are there indicators, strong indicators show that you've made the progress?
How to know whether you are able to move from one stage to the other.
Give him the mic.
Which is a temporary state in which you are. You might find yourself extremely happy at one moment, or one extended period of time. That's not hard. When you're in a state of harm, it may be that at this point you feel very pious. We wouldn't do certain things. In the month of Ramadan, we're supposed to raise our heart to a level that hopefully after Ramadan we can maintain that level, and then it becomes your maqam, your state of being generally. So it's not only during Ramadan that you purify yourself, that you avoid, for instance, social media, that you avoid eating haram, you avoid talking too much. But after Ramadan, you continue in that state. Then it becomes your maqam. And then you see that in your behavior generally, you've changed. And people will begin to see that. That, oh, that has now become your maqam. And then you can safely try to reach, aim higher if you like, and go to a much more subtle state where now you have become imbued with the Quran. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the walking Quran when his beloved Aisha anha was asked about him. And she said, haven't you seen it? He was the living Quran. So you put that, you imitate that, your akhlaq change and become like him. And that's how you know. When you find yourself being more and more generous, more and more kind, الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاسبين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين. You find yourself constantly in a state of giving, whether you have or not. You always want somebody to be generous to you. You want to be kind to somebody. You are less provoked, less easily provoked to anger or argument. And readily forgive when people. That's when you start to know. Things that used to annoy you no longer annoy you as much. You are more patient, you are gentler, and so on. After Ramadan, that's why you start to see it actually amongst your friends, among your family, that they are changing slowly, perceptibly. But you see it, and you see it in yourself as well, in Ramadan. So right after Ramadan, that nur starts to leave you. It's like being in a state of halwa. You go away and you stay in a room, you know halwa, right? You're there for 40 days. So if you do that, or if you like monasteries, you live in a monastery and you avoid all temptations. But once you come out and you are now impinged with all kinds of temptations, how do you react? When you are able to maintain that fortitude, that fortress, as our Sheikh said, Siyam Junnah is a shield. You maintain that shield throughout, even after the month of Ramadan. That's when you know you are now in a maqam rather than in a harm. I hope that answers your question. Assalamu alaikum.
I mean, thank you so much. Of course, that one takes us to the realm of Sufism. That's why it's using concepts that may be very, very strange to you. But one of the signs that you're making progress, when you notice in your life that having come from one stage, your commitment has enhanced. You used not to stand up by the night to pray, but because in Ramadan you tried. In fact, after Ramadan, instead of 2, you are able to do 4. Voluntarily, and sometimes you notice that nobody wakes you up. A certain new routine in your life has taken over. Or your voluntary fasting has become even more heightened. And as you do so, your commitment to remain within the frame of what is called taqwa, you can see clearly that you are really making progress. But that is known to yourself because of your personal experience. And that's what we call in religious studies as personal experience. There are experiences in faith that we don't share with anybody. Those that we do in the mosque, that was the outward and external expression of our faith. That's why in Sufism, Sufism takes you to experience faith at a personal level. And I think that's what most of the time we do not have. So fasting has become social because it's a global thing. Now the whole of the global Muslim world is fasting. So when it's time, if you don't fast, we even laugh at you. Now I'm told that the Islamic police in Nigeria are arresting people who don't fast. So these things, they amuse me. So faith at your personal level. That's why it says, Al-Imanu ma waqara fil qalb wa saddaqahu al-amal. Faith is an affirmation of the heart, confirmed by deeds. So even when you talk about your faith, sometimes you have to really have a certain, how do you experience your own personal level of faith? Which nobody shares except you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, so when you notice that you are making, that new commitment has come your way. And secondly, you will notice the joy, personal joy that you have in it. And that joy leads you to another level of commitment because you are enjoying it. You are reading the Quran. Just maybe within half of Ramadan, you have been able to finish it. And so a certain joy comes and you think, oh, then I should be able to do the other half. So when you have that edge that comes from within, look, it is a sign that you are making a progress. Your journey is leading you to somewhere. And so let's try to strive hard. And that's why the Quran says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who strive in our ways, in us, because the language that we use. Those who strive in us, in Allah. Allah says emphatically, La nahdiyannahum subulana. The la here is an emphatic la, indicating emphasis. So La nahdiyannahum subulana. Indeed, we shall guide them onto our ways. Allah says, we shall guide them onto our ways. And Allah has got different ways. So I like young people. Spirituality is dying down. Spirituality is dying down. So I like to see young people. The chairman was.
The way Sheikh is going, if we give him the opportunity, we'll be here until tomorrow. Because we've just got him excited and we want to say, in fact, a lot more. but time has not been too kind to this. You know, looking at my time now, I think it's 1. So we would want to end it here. But I think you will all agree with me that this session has been great.
Yes.
And we need to clap for ourselves for what we've been doing. There are a few things I would want to bring to your attention. We wanted this program to start at 10 o'clock. We ended up starting at 10:30. So if we had actually started at 10, then we would have had a lot more time probably to interact. Inshallah, on the 1st of March, it's a Sunday, we shall be here again. And this time, the topic for discussion or the theme is attainment of spiritual growth and moral consciousness. So we want to, we are not, we are adjourning until Sunday. At this point in time, we want the Sheikh to give us a closing prayer, after which we shall all march to the mosque and finish with our prayers. Thank you very much.
Yes, I just for your question. There are 2 levels of the recitation. There's what I call devotional recitation and reflective recitation. Devotional is the one that you read through because it's part of devotion, so you read until you are able to finish. That one in itself is devotion. But if you are not gifted with that, then you do what we call the reflective recitation, where you pick certain portions of the Quran and engage yourself with that. That's what you can do. And look, if you are able to do it, what God can do for you, you'll be surprised. And that's when God's inspiration will come to you, and you understand things better in a more better light than the one who doesn't draw recitation. Yeah. But those of you who are gifted, please try and see whether by the time we finish the whole of Ramadan, you will finish the Quran. Some are able to do it twice, thrice before we finish. It depends on your speed. If you are gifted, please go ahead and do it, and the Quran will also do something in your life. So let me thank all of you for coming, and please promise us that next week. Thank you so much for that. Let's say the closing prayer. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك ومغفرتك والسلام من كل اللهم إنا نسألك من العصمة دوامها ومن النعمة تمامها ومن الرحمة شمولها ومن العافية وصولها ومن العيش أفضل ومن الموت أسفل ومن الوقت أقدر ومن الرزق أوسع ومن الفضل أعظم ومن الجود أنفع ومن الإنعام أمر سنة اللهم ربنا إننا ولينا بالقول رحمتك يا رب الراحمين يا رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم.
You are all leading members of Hijra class for coming. The announcement we have is next week, inshallah, it will be on Sunday. Our chairman for the Hijra class is to be handled by Dr. Imam. That's what we do like Ramadan. So we do it to just go online to the Hijra class. Beneficiaries, Jimsa leadership and Swata. For Jimsa membership, thank you,
Nunca acaba de pedir nada.